Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to Be With Me. We're in the book of Genesis, and today we're going to consider being the gardener and the guard of the work that the Lord has for us. This is from Genesis chapter 2. It's about working and keeping the two commandments God gives us with regards to work. So listen in. This is from Genesis chapter 2. I'm going to start in verse 10, talking about a river. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and there it divided and became four rivers. The name of the first was the Pishon. It is the one that flowed around the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It is the one that flowed around the whole land of Cush. And the name of the third river is the Tigris, which flows east of Assyria. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, You may surely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for the day you shall eat of it, you shall surely die. So we kind of talked about the tree of knowledge, so we're not going to talk about that today. And let's just address where Eden is. Like, where is Eden? So the Lord God took Adam and put him somewhere, and it's the Lord intent that people be somewhere. And that somewhere actually in Eden was where he is. So the Lord made Eden, yes, for man, but also for himself. He wants us to be there, and he wants us to be with him. So with regards to that specific locations, we don't exactly know where it is. It's hidden. I imagine if we knew where it was, what a fight there'd be like World War III with regards to where Eden is. It's perhaps in Mesopotamia, in the Fertile Crescent. Some of the rivers we don't even know the names of. The two that we do know, the Euphrates and the Tigris, are well known. The other two, nobody's ever heard of, and there's no good data to connect them to any particular river. Therefore, the point is we don't know where Eden is. All right, let's talk about the purpose of this passage here. So the big points is the garden and the guardian. So he wants us to garden and he wants us to guard. That is, he wants us to work and he wants us to keep in general. Now, that can be work that's paid, that can be work that's not paid. The point really is that we address the idea that there's beauty to work. There's this beautiful cycle of man where we come from the dust, we work in the dust, we garden our acre of dust, and then we keep the dust, and then eventually we return to dust. We're dust from beginning to end, but especially emphasizing today in the middle. So work returns us to our beginning, and all this whole time, this whole sequence is seen by God, and it's commissioned by God, and it's blessed by God. So let's remind ourselves that work is created and charged before the fall. It's a big point. Work is not a curse. Work is cursed, but work is not a curse. Work is a blessing. So work is not the result of sin. Work is this blessing. And it's commissioned and it's seen by God. Now, the curse, which we're going to get to in chapter 3, is there's going to be some upgrading of the sweat and labor of work. The ground's going to be harder. There's going to be some pain involved with it. There's going to be some thorns and thistles and sweat. That's what the curse is. So it just elevates the difficulty of work. I think here today of some of my retiring friends and how difficult retiring is for a lot of people. That is the specific act of leaving paid work and then kind of transitioning to unpaid service. Or maybe mothers might face this when their kids, they don't need their mothers quite as much. Either they go to school or certainly go off to college. It's this crisis is always centering around work, where it can be a crisis rather than like a refiring and repurposing and redefining, while maintaining the idea that work is a blessing, and work has a beauty, and work is a God-ordained activity that involves challenge and creativity. So if you feel a connection to work, you should celebrate that because it is very, very godly. All right, so man's role is as a gardener, which is to tend and prepare and subdue and cultivate something, and then the guardian part of it is to keep it. It's the same Hebrew words that are used for the people that go to work in the temple, which is serve there and also keep there, preserve it, protect it. It's the person that looks faithfully to the future. That's what work is. Work teaches faith, which is belief and reliance in the person of God before the promises of God are seen. So people that work the land are the best of this, farmers and gardeners, because you place seeds at one point and eventually you get to the point where something comes out of the ground, and there's this in-between time of absolute faith where you know you planted this and you hope you get that and you trust that it's going to work. So in blessing you, I hope you have meaning to your particular work, what you put your hand to. Work is not to be avoided. People that don't work generally suffer in their lives. So we're stewards. It's not our garden. It's not our command. We're accountable for this aspect of our life. So it's okay to do something that's difficult and worthy. Colossians says it best, I think, in chapter 3:23. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. What a blessing it is to see someone work hard with purpose and with an eye to the Lord, tending and keeping. So the questions for today is, what are you a gardener of? And if you find something, do it joyfully and purposefully. What does God want you to grow? Or perhaps it's something for you, and perhaps it could be something to work for another. And what do you guard of? And therefore, if you do it diligently and relentlessly. What has the Lord given you that he wants you to keep and pass on and remain intact? So to you, O gardener and guardian, I hope you got to go. I hope you only have 7 minutes today. Why is that? Because you got to go work. Thanks for listening.